I want you to look at some things that I brought with me today, and I want you to tell me what you think they have in common. So here I have a little bit of a bagel, part of my apple, and the corner of a piece of paper. Now, what do these things have in common? Well, I have part of my bagel, not the whole bagel, and a portion of my apple, not the whole apple, and a part of a sheet of paper, not the whole sheet of paper. And actually, we could say each of these things are a fragment of the whole. Now, think about fragments. What in the world do fragments have to do? Fragments of food and of paper have to do with sentences. Well, these things I have here are not complete. They're part of complete things. And when we say that we have a sentence fragment, that means that we have a group of words that does not express a complete thought. But sometimes those groups of words that don't express complete thoughts are punctuated like they really are sentences. So we're going to look at some sentences, or excuse me, some fragments. And I want to see if you can help me to add the missing part to each. Look at this, snorkeled in the ocean. Something is missing. Can you add something to that to make it a sentence or a complete thought? Sam snorkeled in the ocean. What did I add to that? I added the subject, Sam, and you can see I capitalized the first word. Of course, that's the proper name, and put a period at the end of the sentence. What about this? The dark blue water. That describes something, but it's not a complete thought. What about the dark blue water is deep? Look at this. Found a beautiful seashell. Let's make it a complete thought by adding a subject. Laura found a beautiful seashell. And this, the brightly colored fish. The brightly colored fish swam nearby gives us a complete thought. It tells us what the fish did. The last lesson, we were thinking about compound subjects and compound predicates. Now, when a sentence has a compound subject, there's more than one part to the subject. For example, Mary and Sarah went to the store. We know Mary and Sarah is the compound subject. A compound subject has two or more simple subjects that share the same predicate. Those simple subjects are joined by a coordinating conjunction. Now, in the same way, a compound predicate has two or more simple predicates that share the same subject, and they're joined by a coordinating conjunction as well. For example, Mary sat and listened has the compound predicate, and the compound predicate is sat and listened. So let's think first about coordinating conjunctions. Now, coordinating conjunctions, and we've used that word before, just is a word that joins words, phrases, or simple sentences. Now, we use coordinating conjunctions to join parts that are the same. Two or more subjects, two or more predicates. We can use them to join adjectives and adverbs and things like that. Coordinating conjunctions and or are used in series of words like red, white, and blue. You've said that before, I'm sure, or one, two, or three. The coordinating conjunctions and, but, and or are used to combine simple sentences to form compound sentences, and we'll talk about some examples in just a little bit. So let's first think about the term simple sentence. What is a simple sentence? Well, a simple sentence is just a group of words that expresses a complete thought, and it has a subject and a predicate. Now, a simple sentence may have a compound subject, and we've seen already a simple sentence that had a compound subject. It also can have a compound predicate. It may even have both and still be a simple sentence. The idea with a simple sentence is that it expresses only one complete thought. Now, there are simple sentences, but there are also compound sentences. And let's look at that definition. A compound sentence contains two or more simple sentences joined by a comma and coordinating conjunctions such as and, but, or. And it has two or more subject-predicate pairs. That may sound like a lot, but I think it's not going to be difficult. I want you to think about the word compound again. We know that compound means more than one. So a compound sentence means more than one sentence, two or more simple sentences that are joined by a comma and coordinating conjunction. So it has two or more subject-predicate pairs. Now, for me, the easiest way that I know and I can tell whether I have a compound sentence is to do this. I cover the conjunction in the sentence with my finger. And I read the sentence or group of words on each side of my finger. Now, if each part is a complete sentence, then I know that I have a compound sentence. For example, look at this. Pearl farmers place their oysters in salt water, but pollution affects the growth of the pearls. Now, we're going to look for that coordinating conjunction. The coordinating conjunction in this sentence is the word but. Now, I am going to hide it, and let's read what's on each side of it. Pearl farmers place their oysters in salt water. Okay, that's a sentence. That's a complete sentence. And then pollution affects the growth of the pearls. Is that a complete thought or a complete sentence? Yes, it is. So we'll put it back in there so I know that I do have a compound sentence because there is a complete sentence, a complete thought on each side of that coordinating conjunction. Now, the conjunction and is used when the second sentence gives more information. And I want you to look at some sentences here with me. Pearls make beautiful earrings and ladies like to wear them. That's a compound sentence. You can tell that because if I cover up the conjunction, I've got a complete thought, a complete sentence on each side of the conjunction. Also notice that this second part, the second sentence after the coordinating conjunction, gives us more information. Ladies like to wear them. Now, we also know that the conjunction but is used to show a contrast or a difference. So let me show you a sentence with that coordinating conjunction in it. We found a pearl in an oyster, but it was imperfect. Again, I know that this is a compound sentence. I can cover that conjunction up with my finger and I find a complete sentence on either side of the conjunction, and we can see that the second part of the sentence gives us a contrast or it shows a difference. And then we have one more conjunction that we've been using, and it is the conjunction or. The conjunction or shows a choice possibility. So let's look at the third sentence, and we can look for oysters or we can go fishing. So we also can see in this compound sentence a complete sentence here and a complete sentence there. And notice also in each one of these sentences, right before the coordinating conjunction, we have a comma, and you need to remember the comma before the coordinating conjunction in a compound sentence. So I want you to remember that and, the coordinating conjunction and, is used when the second sentence is going to give more information. The coordinating conjunction but is used to show a contrast or a difference. And the coordinating conjunction or is used to show a choice. Now there's one more thing that I want you to think about before we finish, and I want you to look at this sentence. It says some pearls are round on one side and flat on another. They are pearl buttons. Now, do you notice what connects the two sentences? Right, it is a semicolon. Now, do you know what type of sentence this is? This is a compound sentence. So do you always have to have a comma and a conjunction to make a compound sentence? Well, not always. Sometimes a semicolon is used, just like we used in this sentence. So you can sometimes use that semicolon instead of a coordinating conjunction when the second simple sentence reinforces the idea of the first simple sentence. Let's take a moment and diagram these two sentences to see how the parts work. Pearl farmers place their oysters in salt water, but pollution affects the growth of the pearls. Now we're going to put the first sentence, farmers place, simple subject, simple predicate. Let's diagram the simple subject and simple predicate of the second sentence. Pollution affects. Now notice that parallel line in between the main parallel lines, and that is where we're going to put the coordinating conjunction. Now let's look at the next sentence. Some pearls are round on one side and flat on another. They are pearl buttons. This is the compound sentence that's joined by the semicolon. So we're simply going to diagram the simple subject and the simple predicate on each line. So we have pearls are and they are. Very easy to do that. All right, that's very good. And I want us to look together at guided practice. At the top of the page, we see compound sentences. That's what we've been talking about today. And you have the definition of simple sentence and compound sentence. You have some examples of each. And a little reminder about what the coordinating conjunctions are and what they do. And notice when you are joining the compound sentence with the coordinating conjunction, where the coordinating conjunction is put in the diagram. And some compound sentences are joined with semicolons. So we're going to read the sentences here and decide whether they are simple sentences or compound sentences. We'll do a couple of these together. Natural pearls are rare, and divers face dangers in the ocean. That is two sentences, compound. Pearl farmers solve these two problems. Anything compound there? No, it is simple. And for number 5 and number 6, you're going to combine the pairs of simple sentences and into one compound sentence, add a comma and a coordinating conjunction that shows the correct meaning. Remember, we talked about the meaning of each one of these coordinating conjunctions. Now, after you do that, you're going to look at your independent practice, and your parent or facilitator will be checking this. Make sure you're on the right track. You're going to read the paragraph and write S after each simple sentence and C after the compound sentences, and in the box on the right, write how many sentences you found of each type. So make sure that you count correctly when you do that. And you're going to be identifying simple and compound sentences again here, and combining sentences like you did in the guided practice part. And you've got a brief apply and write section there. Well, this hasn't been too difficult, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. We're done for today, and we'll see you in the next lesson.